Larry, this is why it's so important that I'm your friend. You don't need any more money.
Not only Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, Larry Ellison is America's third richest man.
I said, yeah, I know.
Larry Ellison is now the world's second richest man.
Then I said, but we don't have to keep it. We could give it all away.
Larry Ellison has become the world's richest person for the first time.
In the case of Larry Ellison, it's well beyond technology, sort of CEO of everything.
I've heard a lot about Larry Ellison lately, but for all that attention, I felt like I still knew nothing about him. This guy is on track to be a trillionaire and the richest man in the world, and yet I feel like I know nothing. It just seems crazy. So I did a deep dive to try and figure out what he's doing and what our future looks like with him. This is Larry Ellison, often referred to as the CEO of everything, the man that went from programming computers to programming an entire country. In this video, we will touch on his early life, his main company Oracle that is partnered with the CIA, and lastly, his involvement in taking over the media. Larry Ellison was born in New York City in 1944 to a Jewish mother and an Italian-American father. However, they did not raise him. His mother gave him up for adoption before he turned 1. These pieces of his life are very important because it shapes him. His mom was only 19 years old when he was born, and then he would never meet his biological father again, and that had an impact on him. He will spend the next 80 years of his life trying to garner as much power as possible, even buying the 6th largest island in Hawaii. He won't stop there. He is buying almost every media outlet that opposes his worldview, and let me tell you, everything is for sale. His mom gave him up to his aunt and uncle who would raise him in South Shore, Chicago, which is a Jewish middle-class neighborhood. This is one of the most interesting parts of Larry Ellison's life because he grew up in a very religious household, attending synagogue often, but he says he never cared too much for religion. And the reason why this is so interesting is because he's one of the largest supporters of Israel in the world, being the largest single donor to Israeli military, buying TikTok and news networks, all to create a perfectly concocted narrative. He says this support is not religious, but more so because of their technology sector, partnerships, investments, and he claims to have a deep emotional connection to Israel, whatever that means. For the last part about his childhood, he said he had a great relationship with his adopted mother, but his adopted father was cold and unsupportive.
Well, so I had very strong authoritarian figures, both in school and at home, which served as wonderful examples of how not to be.
You know, for a guy who says he didn't want to be an authoritarian figure and is now creating a police state is kind of crazy, and I question how we got here. And for Larry Ellison, these are canon events. These parts of our lives shape who we become. And having the most powerful person in the world with mommy and daddy issues is not good for us. Larry says he has always questioned authority, getting into arguments with his teachers and anyone that held a belief that society deemed respected or trusted. In many interviews, he talks about not trusting the government, which is ironic as we will find out his biggest partner is the government. He attempts college but doesn't last a year and instead moves to Berkeley, California. This is the very early stages of Silicon Valley. He moved there to become a programmer, and this is where the story really begins. Silicon Valley might be the devil's den because the worst people spawn from there. Larry Ellison is now freshly moved to Silicon Valley. He started picking up random programming jobs from Wells Fargo and a company called Amdel, which helped design IBM. Keep in mind, getting jobs was different back then. There wasn't 3 calls with recruiters, followed by 4 calls with each manager from every division, just to be told they moved on with other applicants. It was a different world. His first job that gave him access to the government was at Ampex Corporation. Ampex Corporation is these guys. We've seen them in movies and TV shows.
Ampex. Among these was the versatile instrumentation recorder, a tool which rapidly became essential in industrial and scientific research, in medicine, defense, and space exploration, and other data processing systems.
Which is where Larry comes in. In the 1970s, he was put on his first project called Oracle in partnership with the CIA. This was a project to write code for a database program spearheaded by Larry Ellison, Bob Miner, and Ed Oates. These 3 would go on to create a company called Software Development Laboratories, which the name would later be turned into what most of us have heard of, and that's Oracle. The first customer of Larry's new company Oracle would be none other than the CIA.
Most of you probably do not know that the Central Intelligence Agency was Oracle's first customer.
This would be to build out what they called a relational model of data for large shared databanks. So much talk about Oracle, Oracle this, Oracle that, but what does Oracle actually do? Let's simplify it.
What does Oracle do?
We're the largest supplier of software to manage information. So if you're a corporation keeping track of your inventory or your payroll, it's probably managed by an Oracle database. If you're a studio keeping track of your movie titles and movie clips and news stories, it's probably managed by an Oracle database.
I've been listening to countless people talk and describe Oracle, and I heard someone who is much smarter than me describe it this way, that Oracle is the memory and brain of these corporations and governments. And I think that's the easiest way to understand. Larry was the worst programmer out of the 3 founders, so he got pushed into sales, and this is where he would really step into the spotlight as the face of Oracle. Oracle may be a technology company, but the way it has been run defines Larry Ellison, with insider trading, edging on bankruptcy, and hostile takeovers. These are all characteristics of his personality, and he treats everyone around him with that same type of extremism. As we talk about the power he has obtained, we have to understand how devoid of reality he really is. The way he talks about his business competitors is as quoted, "We're going to run them out of business and buy that building, which we're going to bulldoze. After that, we'll salt the earth, and then we'll go after their families." He is notorious for doing the most insane things to win or take out his opponents. In the early 2000s, he paid private investigators to go through trash at Microsoft and steal computers because he thought they were connected to people that were writing bad articles about him. The person responsible for writing his biography said this was precisely the kind of goofy thing Larry might dream up. In 2013, he was found in the largest scandal in American Cup history. This is racing sailboats, which he owned the team, of course, and America's team was found guilty of tampering with the boat. An extreme personality with delusions of grandeur. Perfect for one of the most powerful people in the world. Let's run through Oracle and Larry Ellison's rise to dominance. Working for Oracle early on seems insane, and I hope this doesn't get my video demonetized, but this is the quotes that they were saying. It was big swinging dicks. They were order takers. They were lucky guys who took orders because everybody wanted this new technology. These are quotes from the people that worked there. They had a saying, GTM, GTFM, just get the money, get the fucking money. This is like Wolf of Wall Street for databases. In 1986, Oracle goes public and Larry is turned into a multi-millionaire. And by 1992, he becomes a billionaire, leading the technology market with information databases. In 2001, he is hit with insider trading where he sold $900 million worth of stock prior to a weak earnings report. The SEC never filed charges, but shareholders did. He would settle with the shareholders by donating $100 million to a charity of his choice. I won't make you do the math for a YouTube video. He made $800 million, hit a tax break along the way by donating to a charity of his choice, and then just walks away with the money. That's the reality we live in. Our understanding of money is not the same as these billionaires, and to put it into perspective, in 2006, he maxed out a credit card, which is common. Except his credit card had a limit of $1 billion. When it comes to business, Larry has a slogan: if you can't beat them fast enough, buy them, integrate them, and make them better. The making them better is questionable, but he sure as hell bought everything that competed with him. In 2005, buys competitor PeopleSoft. 2006, buys competitor Siebel Systems. 2008, buys BEA Systems. 2007, buys Hyperion. 2010, buys Microsystems. 2016, buys NetSuite. 2022, buys Cerner. By the end of all of these buyouts, he's no longer just involved in the government. He is now in the healthcare industry, financial industry, and hosting some of the biggest websites in the world. You have used Oracle's products without even knowing it. They host over 1 million different websites helping store data. Some of the most popular ones are TikTok, Zoom, Walmart, Adobe, Kohl's, AT&T, Nvidia, and Blue Shield, just to name a few. One of the most important partnerships to Oracle is Palantir. Palantir is founded by Peter Thiel, who I have a video on, and also Alex Karp, who I also have a video on. The reason why this sticks out is because Palantir is an AI software that essentially is predicting human behavior that tracks how we exist in our lives.
The president has employed Palantir to carry out this executive order, essentially to merge all data from all different executive branch agencies into one single database.
Palantir is already partnered with the Israeli military, the US military, our health services in the United States, along with the UK's National Health Services.
Founder Peter Thiel is set to secure a contract with the UK's National Health Service. Now, the controversial 5-year contract is valued at more than $480 million.
This partnership with Palantir is scary. There's really no other way to put it. Palantir is known to leak data to Israel and other countries, to spy on American citizens, and don't think that you are special. But let's learn a little more about Larry Ellison outside of Oracle, because it'll tell us a lot about what the future looks like. Larry Ellison's biographies are called The Difference Between Larry Ellison and God, is God doesn't think he's Larry Ellison and everyone else must lose. I couldn't have described his personality better. He thinks he is God, which is very common for these tech oligarchs, where they feel like they deserve the right to everything. Larry Ellison has always been a flashy, big timer, big spender, keep the spotlight on me kind of guy.
It'd be a pleasure.
Okay.
See you, buddy.
This is Larry.
Hey, the Oracle of Oracle. What a pleasure. Nice to see you.
He owns yachts, planes, sailboat racing team, but it's never enough, which is why he bought the 6th largest island in Hawaii. In 2012, he bought the island of Lanai for $300 million from the company Dole. They are the pineapple company. Why they owned it is for a different story.
So it's going to be a little, if you will, laboratory for sustainability in businesses of small scale.
I often wonder if these billionaires hear themselves, because what he's saying is he's using the island as a testing ground, and the people that live there are the lab rats. Let's just call it what it is.
We're going to support the local people and help them start these businesses.
The people of Lanai know this is a farce, because the first thing Ellison did when he bought the island was open a Nobu. Many locals claim there's nothing they can do because he owns the business they work for and the homes they live in, and since he's been there, they've implemented a 30-day eviction notice. They say he's the end of the line and holds all of the power. In Lanai, the average salary is rising, but not due to pay increases, but due to rich folks moving into the island, and this will eventually price out the locals. It has become an escape for the rich and famous. Some of the people that visit there are Tom Cruise, Elon Musk, and none other than the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, taking Pilates at the local hotel. I'm gonna interrupt the video real quick. This is not a sponsorship, but I'm gonna put a link in the description to a foundation that's helping feed and bring water to Palestinian families in Gaza. I wanna make it very clear, I get nothing from this. I get no money. This is not a sponsorship. The only thing I get from this is putting my head on that pillow at night, knowing that I tried to do more than what I'm doing now. If that's something you're into, the link is there. However, liking and subscribing does help me, so please and thank you for watching. At this point, you may be thinking, okay, this guy's a little wild, but none of this really impacts me. So let's get into what he's doing to media and tech of today.
Recently described by President Trump as one of the most serious players anywhere in the world, and by one media outlet as at the center of everything. He's the founder of Oracle, one of the most remarkable companies in the world. And Larry, it's a great pleasure to have you with us.
We have artificial intelligence, which is a massive one, social media and legacy media such as CBS and Paramount. In AI, he is not competing with ChatGPT, Grok, or Google's AI. Instead, all of these AI models need massive infrastructure to run the data on, and Oracle has the ability to do it. Think of Oracle as the landowner to where companies can build their businesses on top of, and they pay Oracle for the land. He is essentially an AI landlord. Larry Ellison's net worth jumped $100 billion in one day. The reason for this massive jump is because in recent earnings, they had listed almost $500 billion worth of back orders from AI companies. All these massive databases that we're seeing built around the country and the world, Oracle is at the middle of that. We often think, what does the future of AI look like? And it's here. We are living in it.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
The AI will be monitored by AI to then send notifications to AI to let AI know to alert local people. There's no possible way this could go wrong. This is already happening. Police car cameras, phones, social media, it's tracking everything and storing massive data on us. It's just a matter of time until they use it for, most likely, security concerns.
We need to unify all of the national data, put it into a database. where it's easily consumable by the AI model, and then ask whatever question you like.
There's a lot of information on Larry Ellison out there, but I don't hear enough people talking about his involvement in Stargate. The Stargate project is a $500 billion AI infrastructure plan with countries from around the world. This project was named after the film Stargate, where they open portals to other worlds. Stargate is a joint venture by OpenAI. We know them as the creators of ChatGPT, SoftBank, a Japanese robotics company, Oracle, Larry Ellison's company, BlackRock, we all know BlackRock, along with two companies I had never heard of, MGX and PIF. MGX is a United Arab Emirates owned investment firm.
This is MGX. It's a firm backed by Abu Dhabi Sovereign's Wealth Fund, and it formed less than 2 years ago, and it's already making huge moves. For example, it's partners with Microsoft and BlackRock on a consortium to spend $100 billion on AI infrastructure.
And PIF is a Saudi Arabia owned investment firm. Together, these two countries control over $1 trillion in assets investing in AI. This was just announced a few days ago, and I'm adding it to the script. Argentina has also now announced a deal with OpenAI for a Stargate data center. The countries that are involved in this have also been buying Trump's crypto coin, and he's received over $2 billion from it. And this is also on the back of Trump's son signing a deal to build a $1 billion Trump Tower in Dubai. There are so many massive companies involved in this deal, along with Trump's full backing. It's probably over my head, but just know that the biggest players are here, and it's going to affect us. And Larry Ellison's play in all of this is the least amount of risk, because even if these AI companies fail, the infrastructure and land will still be there.
The big technology companies are telling us that they're going to spend $1 trillion on their digital infrastructure over the next 5 years. A lot of that's going to go into data centers.
Any billionaire tech company at this point that wants to build out infrastructure will at some point have to pass through Oracle. Next on our list is social media, where Larry Ellison is going to own TikTok.
Oracle, founded by Ellison in cooperation with the government, monitors this algorithm, to quote, ensure content is free from improper manipulation or surveillance.
This started back in 2020 when Trump was saying we need to ban TikTok because they claim the Chinese company ByteDance had a backdoor access to Americans' data. They use the same terminology that they always use when they want to get something done, and that's making it a security concern.
Do you believe that TikTok is a national security threat or not? Because if it is, and I believe that the emergency powers order that you had put in place at the time suggested that it was that not true?
I do believe that. I do believe it.
It needs to be mentioned that TikTok became bigger than that. After Hamas broke into Israel on October 7, 2023, and Israel upped their genocide of the Palestinians to new heights, TikTok became the front runner of learning and supporting the cause for Palestinians. TikTok would inevitably lead the people talking about the U.S. involvement in Israel, but also Israel's involvement in our government and politics.
And the answer is most of them do if you tell them the facts. But how do you tell them the facts over TikTok?
The leaders of the U.S. and supporters of Israel would say they are losing support, and they would call it a TikTok problem.
But I also want to point out that we have a major generational problem. The issue in the United States of support for Israel is not left and right. And so we really have a TikTok problem.
This put even more pressure to lean into banning TikTok, where Trump may have started it, but Israel supporter Joe Biden was also pushing this narrative. By the time Trump came back into his second term, the foundation for banning TikTok was already set. Larry Ellison was there to reap the rewards and became the frontrunner for the TikTok deal, and even Trump knew this.
Are you open to Elon buying TikTok?
I would be if he wanted to buy it, yeah.
On your inauguration,
I'd like Larry to buy it too.
Larry Ellison, being the devout supporter of Israel, knew that to start building back their image, TikTok could no longer exist in the hands of someone that doesn't support his narrative. Now, TikTok will be perfectly aligned with his worldview thanks to the new hires from Israel and the IDF to police supposed anti-Semitic content on their platform. And this leads us into legacy media, where it's no longer just Larry Ellison, but now his entire family is involved. With daddy's money, David Ellison, the son of Larry Ellison and the heir to the throne, creates Skydance Production in 2006. David Ellison decided to drop $60 million on a film he starred in, and no one cared. After this shot to his ego, he claims he wanted to be in the background, now pulling the strings of Skydance, the production and finance company. Somehow, Skydance raised $350 million, and they later raised $700 million. I can't imagine how they got the power to raise that money. I'm sure completely unrelated. Larry Ellison at this point was the 6th richest man in the world. Look, I know, I'm a hater. I'll be the first to tell you I'm a hater. But I'm not going to hold Skydance. They have put out some bangers. They put out Mission Impossible movies, Jack Reacher, Gemini Man, Top Gun. However, they put out one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my life, and it's Transformers: Rise of the Beast. And now I have a vendetta against them for wasting my time and money on that movie.
The FCC just approving that long simmering merger between Paramount and Skydance, a media company. Now remember the context to this. This is a deal getting the green light just weeks after Paramount agreed to settle with the Trump administration for $16 million.
An important part of this buyout is Larry Ellison and Trump obviously have a tight relationship, and Trump was suing CBS for an interview they did with Kamala Harris. Paramount, remember, the parent company of CBS, would eventually settle with Trump, but right after that, they would be bought out.
The White House basically had the final say, the Trump administration, on whether this merger got approved, with critics suggesting the lawsuit settlement may have played a part.
When they were acquired by Skydance, they would put out a joint statement saying they would address Trump's concerns with the bias in the media.
Colbert has no talent. I mean, I could take anybody here. I could go outside on the beautiful streets and pick up a couple of people that do just as well or better. They get higher ratings than he did. He's got no talent.
It is no coincidence that late-night host at CBS, Stephen Colbert, would be fired. Within these buyouts from Skydance would come the free press.
I'm doing something different. It's an announcement, and one that I'm so excited to be making. The Free Press is a news organization above all, so I'll get right to it. This morning, the Free Press is joining Paramount.
Owned by Barry Weiss.
Not compromising myself, not self-censoring myself, not doing the very things that would betray why I began this profession in the first place. So I left with a resignation letter, sort of heard around the world.
Heard around the world. Literally no one knew who she was before she started doing genocide denial for Israel. And even then, I doubt people know who she is. Barry Weiss is a staunch supporter of Israel that has run massive PR campaigns for the IDF in the Israeli state, denying everything from genocide to starvation. The reason why this is so important is because she was brought in as the editor-in-chief of CBS and will report directly to David Ellison. Barry Weiss is also a strong Donald Trump supporter, but her loyalty to Israel knows no bounds. This process of buying TikTok and all these media platforms is going to create a perfect funnel for Larry Ellison to sit at the top of and manipulate everything to his liking. Skydance is currently trying to buy Warner Brothers for $60 billion, which would lead to the largest acquisition in history for Hollywood. Do all these buyouts sound familiar? Currently, I'm writing this on October 15th, 2025, and Warner Brothers has denied this, claiming it's too low, but David Ellison says he's going to find more investors to increase the bid. All of these buyouts have given Larry Ellison the power and control over the infrastructure of AI, the access to financial records, medical records, government records, one of the largest social media platforms in the world, and dominance over our entire news and media system in the United States. This isn't a Democrat or Republican issue. He funds both parties because, just like I said earlier, everything is for sale, and that includes our government. After taking in all of this information, if I had to guess, Larry and his son are just getting started in the media and will continue to expand their holdings of media companies. At this point, I don't know if all of these oligarchs can be stopped, and if anyone could, it would be the people at the top. But I believe we are long past that point.